The opening scene shows Harry talking to his father, and during this conversation, Norman says,
I will never let you go.
and then the symbiote transfers from Norman to Harry. It dips to a black screen, and then we see Harry in a tank submerged with the symbiote. Wow, talk about tough love. We then cut to Peter starting his first day as a teacher at the same school as Miles. We notice in the background sand being blown into the city. Miles investigates after yelling bathroom, but soon comes back saying that he needs assistance. Now, he could have called or texted Peter, but instead he comes in yelling he needs help. That's pretty suspicious in my opinion. Anyway, they both zip to the roof and find out they need to save the day, as usual, and then Peter says,
I'm so getting fired.
they find a giant Sandman and were able to take him down thanks to Miles shooting electricity into Peter's metal arms, making a sort of like a laser beam. Now this looks exactly like the scene from Avengers Endgame. After taking down Sandman, we go back to Peter's house where we arrive at the same time as MJ. Pretty convenient if you ask me. Upon MJ leaving, he hears a scream only to find out that his best friend is alive and well. They ride bikes down memory lane only to arrive at their old high school where they commit a felony by breaking into it. I get driving by your old high school to relive the glory days, but breaking into it? Really now? After reminiscing, Harry and Peter talk at the football field where Harry offers him a job at his startup. Peter, who just got fired from his only job and is behind on his mortgage, has to think about it. Harry at least wants him to come by the lab to check things out.
Check it out.
We meet up with Miles at the RAF facility to make sure the prisoner transfer goes smoothly. We are surprised that we are not only watching Scorpion be transferred, but also Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative. For those who don't know, Martin Lee is the one who murdered Miles Morales' dad in Spider-Man. During the transfer, of course, things don't go as planned, and the RAF boat gets attacked by Kraven's army. They capture both Scorpion and Martin Lee. And of course, both Spider-Man save people, and then Peter reassures Miles that they will put Martin back where he belongs.
Promise.
We cut to Peter at the startup. The startup is actually massive and what I would consider state-of-the-art. Of course it's state-of-the-art because Norman Osborn funds it. Trust fund kids, am I right?
What do you think?
Peter checks out the facility and comes to the conclusion that working with Harry is probably the best idea, and it only is willing to do so under one condition.
Can I move my desk over there? I like to face the wall when I work.
We cut to the scene of Scorpion creeping up on Kraven, which ultimately leads to Scorpion's death by his own tail, which is quite unfortunate. Peter finds out that Kraven's not building an army, but is actually capturing them to hunt. Peter sees that Kraven's tracking down Felicia, aka Catwoman, and Miles has to go check it out. We find that she steals a teleporting wand from the Sanctum Sanctorium in New York because
My girlfriend's in Paris. And I got her into trouble with some bad people.
I guess flying wasn't an option for her. Fast forward to Coney Island where Miles finds Mysterio who has a booth for VR. Unfortunately, he sees Martin Lee while using the VR, which causes the machine to break and be closed. Miles meets up with Peter, Harry, MJ, and Genki, and then leaves with Genki because his head hurts, which is just convenient for the plot. Also, can I just say that Martin Lee looks a lot like Markiplier? After roaming around the park, we see Tombstone at the go-kart track, and that's when Peter suggests,
Maybe we should try the roller coaster.
while sharing a romantic scene with MJ, Kraven finds Tombstone and attempts to subdue him.
Tombstone.
Spider-Man attempts to rescue Tombstone, but they distract Peter by driving one of their cars into a ride which falls onto the roller coaster that still has people on it. What is wrong with these people? Couldn't they wait until after his shift to follow him home and get him there? Spider-Man gets caught between a beam and almost drops people on the ride, but is saved by Harry. The symbiote comes out of Harry's arms, lifting the beam above Spider-Man, saving the people on the ride. Side note, Harry could instantly tell it was Pete by his voice. Do you think other people could as well? Harry and Peter meet up at the Foundation where they test out Harry's new suit, aka the symbiote, aka Venom.
Whoops.
Testing ends up destroying everything in their office. Norman asks where Dr. Connors is, aka the Lizard, and Harry suggests he took the day off. Norman states,
He doesn't take days off.
Peter tracks down another Kraven site to rescue Tombstone, and during the fight, Harry drops in to help Peter. Harry actually becomes useful and helps Spider-Man rescue Tombstone. They fist bump after a successful rescue and Harry's suit clings onto Peter's suit. We then see a mini spider symbol appear on Harry's suit. Honestly, I would be freaked out, but I guess this is just another Tuesday for the boys. MJ investigates Dr. Connor's disappearance, and at his house, she finds that Kraven and his men are there. She climbs into their van and finds that they have taken Dr. Connors. She drops her phone out of the van and stays in the van. I would have jumped out of the van so fast or just taken the laptop and dipped. They arrive at an abandoned zoo, which she finds where they're keeping Dr. Connors. Also, they didn't even turn off Dr. Connor's phone. They just left it out in the open. Couldn't Harry or Peter just track his phone? Are you serious? Somehow she outsmarts all of the hunters and gets the keys to his chain and the cage code. Out of nowhere, Kraven appears and injects Dr. Connors with serum to make him the lizard. Conveniently, Peter and Harry arrive and clear a path to the atrium where there is a conveniently placed serum that could be used to reverse his lizardness. Pretty convenient, Dr. Connors knew exactly where it was at. While defending and fighting Kraven, Peter gets stabbed and dies. Harry runs over, and as he mourns the death of his friend, the symbiote is transferred to Peter and brings him back to life.
What happened?
They meet back at the Foundation, and Peter attempts to give the suit back to Harry, but no luck. They need Dr. Connors since he built the suit. MJ states the serum is around Kraven's neck, and perfect timing because the symbiote then spits out Kraven's blade, which they use to track Kraven, that eventually leads them to find Kraven in a chapel. To sum it up, Spider-Man gets the serum, Kraven rings a loud bell, Spider-Man does not like that bell, Spider-Man leaves, and Kraven says,
My final hunt.
Peter makes it back to the Foundation where they need a particle accelerator to turn the serum into the antidote for the lizard. As they wait for it to finish, they are tracked down by Kraven's hunters, which leads to the destruction of the Foundation. But hey, they got the antidote at least.
Nice.
Spider-Man goes to Dr. Connor's house to investigate and finds that he was there at one point thanks to the security camera in his panic room. He is then interrupted by Kraven's hunters, which he claps, and then finds from the radio that Dr. Connors is at the fish market across town. Miles and Peter track him down, and that leads to a huge chase, but Dr. Connors gets away. Peter and Miles meet up after, and basically Peter says that he doesn't need Miles' help anymore, and then this happens.
He's mine.
You sure? He's got big teeth.
So do I.
Okay, well, Peter, you don't even have teeth on your suit, and even out of the suit, you have normal-sized teeth, in my opinion at least. I get the reference to Venom, but we haven't even seen him yet. Anyway, after the quick chat, Peter finds a secret Oscorp lab in the sewers and a meteorite. The lights turn off for some reason, and while trying to turn the lights back on, Dr. Connor attacks Peter. Peter, being jacked up from the symbiote, takes Dr. Connors down and injects him with the antidote. Dr. Connors awakes from the antidote and finds Peter in his suit, which has bonded with the symbiote. He then shows Peter the meteorite, and Peter finds that the meteorite landed on Earth a couple years ago and is the reason why Dr. Connors is missing an arm. It's a sad way to lose your arm, but I completely understand where Dr. Connors is coming from. Dr. Connors says to Peter that they need to destroy the symbiote, and Peter says,
Destroy us?
Peter goes home and is too tired to talk to MJ, and I love this part. The symbiote pulls the blanket up on Peter while he's sleeping. MJ peers out the window and sees Kraven's men outside and looks toward Peter only to find out that he has disappeared. Peter seems to have been taken over by the symbiote and is acting crazy. MJ calls Miles for help and they track him down, and MJ suggests that Miles traps her in the tunnel with Peter so she can talk him down. Now, this is in no case like the Hulk and Black Widow, no sun is setting. This man is possessed by an alien. An alien. While in the tunnel, Peter tells MJ to run, and somehow she is able to escape an alien and a man with spider senses. However, Miles is captured by the hunters because of their genius plan of having a hunter be a fake innocent bystander needing help. Miles awakes at one of Kraven's hideout where he attempts to escape but is actually led to a courtyard to fight Mr. Negative. Miles does fight Mr. Negative and wins. For some reason, he tells him to find Spider-Man and then throws him out of the courtyard, but doesn't try to escape himself. Doesn't really make much sense to me, but oh well. Peter finds Mr. Negative and is told where Miles is being held. He zips to the hideout and eventually finds Kraven. He gets trapped, not really, and proceeds to fight Kraven. We fight Kraven and try to unalive him, but luckily Miles intervenes. Peter is losing control, and the only way to talk any sense into him is just to fight him. Talking and fighting works, just like it did in Naruto. Peter pulls the symbiote off of him. Oh wait, wrong Peter. And Peter pulls the symbiote off of him, and they're able to capture the symbiote. Peter takes it back to Oscorp to destroy it, and he is met by Harry. He says,
Gotta destroy it.
and Harry says,
Do you want me to die?
somehow Harry's able to break open the container holding the symbiote, and it breaks out, and oh my god, it's Venom! Who would have guessed it? Also, either Harry's incredibly strong or that's just a container. Venom goes on a rampage and breaks out of Oscorp and conveniently finds Kraven in Times Square after Venom causes a plane to crash. One can imagine how this one ends. Roll the clip. Peter tries to track down Harry by his work badge and finds that he's turning people into symbiotes.
You're not.
He calls MJ and tells her to stay away from Harry, but during the call, Harry arrives at the house. Harry tries to convince Peter to join him, but Peter says nah, and Harry proceeds to take Peter's girl and turn her into a symbiote. We find off the MJ symbiote, aka Scream, and MJ is able to take back control, getting rid of the symbiote. For some reason, her first thought is to call her boss and quit her job. Priorities, I guess, but this is a perfect moment for a "Are you serious?"
Kiss my ass. I quit.
Now let's fast forward to Miles and Peter trying to save people at City Hall from the symbiotes. As they attempt to get inside, a giant symbiote knocks Peter out, and then Miles tries to save Peter from the symbiotes but just ends up in the dog pile. A hand from above saves him and it turns out to be Markiplier. I mean, Mr. Negative, sorry. Spider-Man is still out cold and Miles says that there's still some symbiote left inside of him. Mr. Negative says that he can clear it out, and what do you know? The power of teamwork, they're able to. Miles yells at Peter to wake up, and on command he's able to, and now a new white symbiote appears around his body, and it's not stated in the game, but 99% sure this is anti-venom. They clear Town Hall and now go after Venom. Peter tracks Venom in the subway and finds Venom waiting for him. Venom says that he needs to show Peter something and shows him a vision of turning people into symbiotes, as well as the true location of the meteorite. Miles shows up and saves the day by shocking Venom off of Peter, and they escape through the roof. They create a plan to get the rock by Peter distracting Venom, Miles distracting the symbiotes, and MJ stealing the meteorite. They then would put the meteorite into the particle accelerator back at the Foundation to blow it up. Somehow, this plan works and MJ is able to get the meteorite safely and is unharmed. Peter is now fighting Venom at their old high school, and after a few rounds of going back and forth, Venom finds out we have stolen the meteorite and then grows wings and flies toward the Foundation where MJ and Miles are. He then slings Peter across the Foundation, knocking him out cold, leaving Miles to fight Venom. I feel bad for Peter because he's been knocked out like 4 times this game. Miles continues to fight Venom, and Venom tries to take the meteorite, but Miles intervenes again. Venom then tries to smash Miles with the meteorite, but MJ saves Miles by a Bluetooth speaker. Peter eventually wakes up from his coma and pursues Venom with Miles, which brings us to this awesome fight sequence. This fight leads to Harry saying, "You have to unalive me." Harry gains some sense of control and tells Peter to do it. Peter uses his anti-venom power on Harry, which unalives him, but Miles uses his bioelectricity to bring Harry back. Well, like not fully, the lights are on, but we can't tell if anybody's home. We will cut to Norman in the hospital looking over Harry like a worried father would. However, he proceeds into a rage and starts destroying things in the room with MJ and Peter still there. They awkwardly leave, and then Norman makes a call and says,
Get the G serum ready.
which can only mean it's goblin time. We end at Aunt May's house, which is now Peter's house, where Peter shows that he is starting up the Emily May Foundation to MJ again, but now it's going to be in his garage. Conveniently, Miles arrives at their house, and Peter's trying to have the, "Hey, I can't be tutoring you anymore, and I'm retiring" talk. And Miles says, "You got this, no worries." Miles zips away, Peter and MJ share a kiss, and that brings us to the end of Spider-Man 2. Oh, and for the secret ending, Norman goes to Dr. Octavius and wants to know the identity of Spider-Man. And Doc Ock says, "Nah, fam, you need to learn Lost too." And then Norman's like, "What are you writing?" And Doc Ock's like, "Oh, it's just the final chapter." So basically, we'll get another Spider-Man game, probably named the final chapter. Also, the secret ending, we find out that Cindy Moon, aka Silk, is real, and she'll probably be in the next game. Alright, thanks for watching the very first Are You Serious? Do me a favor and like the video and subscribe. Also, drop your comments down below on what moment had you saying, "Are you serious?" Anyway, as always, I'm not Mayo, even though I am Mayo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.